How's it going, everybody? It's Aphotix, back again with another match review. This time we're going to be looking at the EVO 2020 Winners Finals match, myself versus Aeronico. As we can see here on our little character roulette, I'm still rocking the double rushdown girl and grave team, and Aeronico actually in this tournament played the same team as Seaweezy, so all my top 8 matches are against triple zoner, with no arc, of course, as he is especially on this patch, significantly worse than the other zoners in the game. These days it's a little less of a gap, but back then it was quite extreme. So leading off with the Val vs. Jaina, which I had to play against Seaweezy as well. Gonna open with that forward A again. Doesn't work out. Whoops. Man, I'm really good at sniping these crazy skips. Trying to hit I'll just use the space bar. I got hotkeys. Alright. You know what? I'm not even going to edit this. We're not going to redo it. We're just going to keep rolling. So we're going to get to see my whiff forward A again. Probably unnecessary against Jaina. And then, yeah, really bad jump there. That jump super sucks because he can actually do whatever he wants now. Walk up, throw, walk up, dive kick. You can actually do a meaty knee there from this timing where it is not punishable on block, so then you're in. And it might be counterintuitive, but Jaina actually wants to be in on Val, especially on a knockdown. Much like versus Setsuki, if Val doesn't have super, she has basically no defense. So Jaina pressure is totally valid. And again, this patch is slightly older where Jaina's dive kicks are even better than they are these days. So there's no doubt that the pressure is coming in and I'm going to have to deal with it. Okay, so there was a block neutral A there. No cancel. Smart to not cancel because if I'm already blocking, assuredly I'm going to block the arrow also. And then it's definitely my turn. I might even get a punish depending on the spacing. However, letting it finish, I have to take a gamble. I can go for a throw because I do have initiative, but it's not going to be in time because I had to do a micro walk from that spacing where he could have Yomi countered. I can go for a neutral A, which maybe was the play, considering he did not go for like a YOLO DP. But anything I do is a risk there. It is counterable. There was no guarantee for me. So smart play by Aeronico to let the neutral A finish and then quickly reacts to the fact that I'm still in defense mode and then gets this knee. But thankfully, the knee really, from this spacing, there's really no good way for Jaina to keep pressuring here, so we'll see what happens. Or is there? Okay, so take back everything I said. I'm still just chilling, I guess. And take a dive kick here. More dive kicks. Yeah, just dive kick all day. Walking into it. So if it's not clear why I'm walking into these dive kicks, if Jaina jumps a little higher, it'll be a cross-up. And the only way to straight up counter that is to walk under it. And also, obviously, block it. But ideally, if you walk under it, now you've reversed the pressure, which is what I'm trying to do. But Arrow is just completely content with just spamming it. Technically, it's not great to do that when Val doesn't have super because you are letting her build super, which will be a way out with like this height here. I can super this. So if he keeps this up, eventually I'll be able to super. But I'm just taking it on the face, so hey, why not keep doing it? And there was the cross up where I got under, which is what I wanted. But then I get thrown anyway because I took too much damage. If I didn't take so much damage in the process of doing that, it would have been great. With the forward ace. That time I walked up a little bit because it would trade with an arrow. And if arrow didn't come out, then maybe I get a random hit or at least make him block it. You know, start driving him toward the corner. Here I get a big prediction jump. Just kind of, again, going off of intuition and game flow. There was no reaction there. Again, you can't really react with a Val jump A against the Jaina arrow. You have to guess. So you just need some kind of read or again, that kind of instinct where every zoner player has a certain rhythm to when they want to throw fireballs from certain spacings, depending on what you're doing. So if you could trigger that in your opponent, then and you can identify it and manipulate it, you're going to get a lot of fat jumping combos. I back off there. I don't really have a great way to follow that up. If I Rainbow, that's reactable as super, so Rainbow's out. If I same side yellow, that's fine. However, it puts me minus in a situation where I already have Jaina contained near the corner. Not completely cornered because right, I still have to navigate over maybe a fireball or an anti-air, but contained in the corner where I don't need that little extra pushback from the yellow, where I might opt for that more in the mid screen. And certainly I don't want to cross up yellow here because then I'm in the corner even if it works, so it kind of can't work. So I think backing off, also in case he does yellow DP, it would just win me the round outright. So that a dive kick there would have at least clipped the forward A, if not actually let him combo. I don't think it would have let him combo from that range, but it would have at least clipped the forward A. So I must have been convinced that that was going to be an empty jump, or maybe he was going to do some desperation stall with a jumping arrow thing, which is a terrible idea, but, you know, if you see that you're jumping right into the opponent, sometimes you go for that. So I hedge my bet with a forward A, and he just lands on it, which you're not going to see that much. I would not really consider that a stable strategy, and I wouldn't really recommend doing it, but it worked out here. Catch the jump back. I make sure to hit confirm. So all the time, this may be, for any Val players watching this, I would say this is one of the skills that separates decent Vals from elite Vals, is the ability to hit confirm your Cyan, in particular, when they are jumping out and they flip out. The difference between you being plus, which is what happens if you just let Cyan finish, and you being throwable as a punish because you're so minus for the Cyan or for the magenta whiffing while they're flipping out, completely changes your offense. Obviously, you're not going to get punished and lose your momentum, but you're also instead in a situation where you can set up anything you want. And if you're talking about corner situations, that's the difference between you having them cornered and them throwing you, knocking you down, and cornering you. It is absolutely vital to the point where you're literally, if you can't always hit confirm, you're better off actually letting some damage go from not being able to confirm into the magenta over whiffing magentas against people jumping out and then completely losing all of your pressure and getting thrown. I get away with a jump there. Because he was kind of flailing around, it was hard for him to get an anti-air out. Like a DP wouldn't have cut it there, and probably a super wouldn't have either. And since I already had a jump A active, Knee isn't going to do it. So just due to the weird kind of fact that he didn't start that with a clean slate. He was already kind of doing stuff. That jump was actually pretty safe. Get the 2 stages of chip. He kind of called my bluff there. He was just dead to yellow. Again, I'm not rainbowing because he has super, but he was just dead to yellow. But he figured I wasn't going to go for it, and I figured I don't need to risk it. So good. I think it's a good call from both of us. I go for the anti-air Cyan, which is legitimate but very hard, especially if they're a little farther away like that. The forward Cyan, I think it still can work, but you're talking about perfect spacing and timing, and I mean like very perfect. And it might still trade, which of course in this case would have been fine, but really difficult stuff. And I get the Yomi counter. It's just a guess, but it worked out. I'm not sure. He might have fell for a fuzzy there. You got to be careful as Jaina that you are not going for fuzzy throws. It's actually one of the reasons I refuse to play the character. I know other people have issues with kind of the reaction type gameplay she has, where you need to be able to DP things very, very quickly on demand all the time, which is true, but I actually don't mind that part of it. For me, it's the fact that in order to do any reasonable offense with Jaina, against elite players at least, who are consistently fuzzying, you always, literally all the time, every single throw you ever do has to be an anti-fuzzy time throw, meaning you have to wait, 5 or so frames before you could throw, every time. Otherwise, they will just get fuzzy by good players, and you will have completely owned yourself, and you have no offense. So it's really difficult. You have to practice it specifically a lot. and failing to do so will just cause you to get completely destroyed by top players. Let that dive kick happen. I could have supered, but I must have not been looking for it. That was a bad super because it wasn't in reaction to anything. It was just me guessing. And somehow the back A comes out. No idea what was meant to come out there. I'm sure it wasn't back A. So just all spaghetti right there. That was a safe jump into safe chip. I don't react to the whiff knee. That's 2 damage. That's cyan magenta every time. So no real excuse for whiffing that, but I did. Somehow throw out a rainbow, which catches a back jump. So this is all weird stuff. Couldn't get a juggle there, and I get a counter hit. I think, so for me, I know a lot of players preach about throwing out of zip, and I've seen some great throws out of zip, and I've been thrown out of zip at some very impressive times myself. But what I also will say is, even from the top players who can do these difficult throws, I've seen them get counter hit and die more times than I've seen the great zip throws. I'm not saying you can't practice zip throws. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. But I am saying maybe just block. Good footsies there. I was obviously assuming he was going to keep walking back and get knee to the face. I don't think he was expecting that to work either because he doesn't get the combo. But at this point, it's still very much a winnable round. I don't have super. I'm knocked down. I'm cornered. And it's Jaina. And Jaina's pressure is insane. Goes for the high same side dive kick, trying to fake me out, followed by the real cross up. But again, I'm looking for the cross up. I react this time. I learned my mistake from round 1 where I was kind of just guessing or being lazy about it. Make sure to react this time. However, I don't stick out a neutral A or anything, so he's just going to keep jumping on me. And I don't, that, just looking at it, and it's hard to know. I don't think that was anti-fuzzy. So it just gets Yomi countered. That's just free. That was, I'm pretty sure the commentators in this were like, "Oh my god, amazing Yomi counters." Those are actually not amazing. That's the only thing to be doing. They're free. They're literally free. You have to time every single throw you ever do against a good player around that, and if you don't, you just lose. There we go. I finally catch an arrow. So for me, those forward A's at the start of every round are awesome because it just gives me initiative in future rounds. If you just eat the forward A enough times, you're going to stop pressing a button at the start. And that's party time for Val. Have to block an arrow. That's all good. Okay, I go for a zip and he counter hits me out of it. That's awesome. That's great news because that would have been way worse if he just reacts with either super or jump back dive. I think he could have jump back dive kicked that for big damage. Because it's in neutral, it definitely can be thrown. Any number of things could have happened to me that were bad, and I think only taking the 1 damage was actually very lucky. You can't just zip in neutral like that. It's garbage, and I don't know why I did it. Get another Yomi counter here. That was kind of an actual neutral scramble, so that one was kind of more legit. Go for some tricky stuff there. I figured it was going to be too hard to land the typical setup that pubs get hit by. Get thrown here, and that's just disgusting. See, he didn't even know how disgusting that was. That was supposed to be forward A into death, but it was so disgusting, and it was so barely a cross-up that he didn't even know what side he was going to land on. And it is unfortunate. I would say it's unlucky for him since he did land the cross-up and he ended up on the same side. I probably should have died for that, but hey, we'll take those. Yeah, that was a situation where it was very high risk, and I would say normally low reward. Like, if we're not both at 1 life, that's a very low reward play, and it's just not worth it at all. When they're on 1 life, there is a real chance that he immediately jumps after firing that arrow, either to throw an air arrow or to start a dive kick. Probably not worth it and not likely, especially because Aeronico is known for reactive play and not proactive trying to push it. Because the thing is, if he gets an air arrow out, for example, then I am very close to being tripped out. Because remember, I'm blocking that first arrow. the air arrows out, I have to avoid that unless I'm getting DP and I'm just dead. So it can create a difficult situation. So I decide I don't want anything to do with that difficult situation. So I just go for the YOLO. Ended up not working out at all. And I think it's probably not a good play. You probably shouldn't do that. But it's not totally non-viable. See there, look at that. So far we're almost 3 seconds into this round, and because I've mashed so much forward A at the start of every round, Jaina has not yet pressed a button. Now, of course, I just jump randomly in neutral, so we're going to see how this goes, but it goes great. Get the anti-air chromatic orb, finally. I keep calling that move sphere, whatever. Sphere orb, same shit. I go for the double fake ski into the attack, so that actually can confuse a really good player. I know it looked really slop and really jank. Part of what the deal is there is the first, it's kind of like a triple fake in a way, or a double fake, you could say. The first fake is faking the zip. So it's a neutral jump. Normally, a Val is going to zip and try to confuse you with their cross up or take their point of chip damage, whatever. However, I like to stay same side. I'm pretty sure Aeronico knows that, especially when I have the corner. Stay same side. However, I whiff the attack, and then if the player reacts fast, and Aeronico, again, known for good reactions, if he sees that attack whiff, he's going, oh, this is a fake safe jump into a throw. So then we skip that too, and then go for an attack. So the idea is you hope they feel really clever because they scouted out the zip, and then at the last second they realize, oh my god, wait, it's another fake, and then you get them with the just straight up Rekka. I actually think maybe he just didn't react to the whiffed attack, and I could have just thrown, but who knows. I end up sneaking in an extra Cyan there, which is really great. Once that Cyan got blocked, in my head I'm thinking he's mentally stunned right now. So I get the Cyan reset, which is great because that's a full point of chip, which is a really big difference because against Jaina with super, it is not free to go from 2 stages of chip to a converted chip. So being able to do it all in one swing safely, or rather, obviously the Cyan to Cyan gap isn't safe, but if you can traverse that gap rather than needing some yellow or rainbow, that's way better. See here, I'm chilling because I'm building super and I have it. He gets a really sick walk-up throw. That was like pixel perfect. That was literally max range. Really sick throw. Holy moly. I'm blown away by that just watching it now. And then gets the dirty cross up again. Smart adjustment. It's going to go for neutral A here. Goes for the DP. Why not? Yeah, this is all garbage. But, oh. Okay, I was getting DP there anyway, actually. Yeah, that's just death. Yeah, it's just 100% dead. Maybe I could I think the best thing I could do there is stutter step, barely block that middle arrow in time, and hope he barely whiffs a DP because he thought I was going to try to go through it. That's probably the best way to win that, but yeah, it's pretty much screwed. All right, now we have Satsuki versus Geiger. This match is very tricky because Jump C is insane. So just the 2 damage B, that one was kind of YOLO random, but again, if you have your opponent's rhythm, you'd be surprised how many times that B, which normally sucks, turns into a hero move, at least if you're doing it when it's going to get the 2 damage combo. If that doesn't get the 2 damage combo, I'm just getting flash geared every time, which sometimes the kick can trade with a flash gear, but it's still trash. You don't want it. You want to throw it in the garbage can. But if you can get the 2 damage every time, then all of a sudden, it's looking pretty decent. And it breaks open Arrow's defense here, which I really needed because so far I haven't really gotten any genuine offense going. Safe jump into the throw, so that was a slightly late throw. Satsuki doesn't need to delay her throws too long because her normal attack's pretty damn fast at 5 frames, whereas a throw startup is 3. You don't have to anti-fuzzy for very long, which is awesome. And there I certainly delay long enough where you couldn't fuzzy that. So I got really unlucky there and didn't get the second cape. I still get the Ada combo, but that in my head I'm thinking this is death. Don't get it. once I realize I don't get it, then I'm seeing him jump back, so I'm trying to get the heck out of the corner. And I don't, but then he whiffs. Oh, just all disasters all around from everybody. But we take those. That's how it is. It's hard to jump against Geiger in neutral. You find the forward A, find the whiff, go for the C throw. C throw is awesome. I go for some cheeky B stuff. So okay, the cheeky B, I'm sure you guys see that all the time in like kind of lower level play. It's really bad at top level play. But one thing I talked about in the last video quite a bit that I again am a firm believer in is giving my opponent weird looks. I am happy doing bad moves to throw off my opponent's rhythm, to throw off their focus, to make them think about some crap that they haven't thought about in a long time, or that they don't expect from me. And there's a little extra value versus Geiger, because maybe if he's asleep at the wheel, he just lost his gear charge, and then all of a sudden that B becomes a real 50-50 mix-up. Get anti-air there. Yeah, whiffs the jump A. You can't really jump A like that. It's not very good. Gets a sick air-to-air jump A against me. Oh, that was death. I screwed up. Gets another jump A. I'm blocking. Oh, it's so bad. He's going to let me get away, and then, goes for the... He was hoping I was going to jump toward him with a dive kick, but I baited out. Get my anti-air super. Tough situation. Yeah, great patience there. Didn't do anything. I sneak under, so... one thing that I don't see lesser or lower skilled Satsuki's doing in neutral is using Starlight to throw kunais or to dive kick in neutral. It's extra good against fireballs, obviously, because you can sneak through their fireball and then start dive kicking in a way that you couldn't do with a jump, or at least it looks weird and it's a little different timing. But even without the fireball, it's just another thing for them to think about. And if they hear that Starlight enough, they might start thinking throws are coming, or the opposite. They might start being trained to just deal with Starlight dive kick all day, and then your throw just becomes that much better. I mean, it's again, in terms of varied options, I think it's worth throwing in the Starlight into dive kick in neutral, or Starlight to kunai. The Starlight to kunai is a very different kunai to deal with, and even though I don't normally like kunais, again, Satsuki is a character who can really give your opponent a billion different looks, and in my opinion, you should use a lot of them a lot of the time. Unless you're just winning, of course. Go for the same side, don't have a super there, so I just get 2 damage. Get the air-to-air that time. It's looking great. I love it. It gets a great anti-air. And this should be death. Do I get this? No. Oh, I don't even go for it. Interesting. Maybe it wasn't death. I take the damage there. That was bad. Double KO sucks for me because I can't win the game. Could have maybe baited that with the kunai, but probably not. Okay, good reaction. Good neutral A, but just jumping. Get tagged there, and yeah, blasts right through me. Forward A there is kind of a pedestrian move. It's a little too slow. It can get thrown. It can get flash geared. I don't love it. And again, arrow just waiting. Yeah, it's going for... That's very standard Geiger stuff. So if Geiger throws a gear and is on the offensive, the jump forward A to cover the land, air, and sea, as it were, very common and powerful tactic. And I just get hit by it for whatever reason. Really shouldn't happen, but yeah, now I'm dealing with drop gear, which is incredibly annoying for Satsuki. Yeah, it's all going to hell right now. Hell in a handbasket. Get a big jump in, though, and all of a sudden there's a chance. Safe. Okay, yep, delay the throw. Try to do the dipsy doodle. Get my back A. Live in. Get a huge Omi counter. That was genuine 50-50, and so that was safe against the flash gear. It was safe against the wake up super. We discussed this in the last video, but you have to neutral jump that. There is no other way out. And when it's 1 HP and it's the last round and you're not sure, it's real hard to commit to that neutral jump. It's real hard. Would have won him the game, though, and maybe even winners finals. That was jump forward, jump B. Great play against Rook. Very hard to deal with. Very hard for him to anti-air. he has options. From farther distances, you can knife hand it. From weird angles, you can even back A it sometimes, because sweep for some reason hits behind Grave. It's pretty hard to do against Grave's jump B, but against some other cross-ups, it's a little more consistent. For example, Midori's butt slam. You'd be surprised how many sweep anti-airs from the wrong side you can get. But in neutral in general, I would say it's an above-average choice, and I was pressing forward A, which is a bad move in neutral, so I'm not sure what I'm doing so far. Yeah, jump up and down is pretty tough for Grave to deal with. Oh, I don't hit confirm. See, jump B is pretty good. Get a Yomi counter. Grave, so again, this is kind of outdated, but on this patch, Grave's neutral A is plus for him. His jump B knocks down. His super reaches 1,000,000 miles for 2 damage. So neutral is all about not throwing fireballs and getting supered, so you have to navigate that literally the whole time while still figuring out how to pressure your opponent. So neutral A is just kind of the go-to all day long. And obviously, neutral A by itself isn't going to crack anyone open, so you need to mix in those throws. So if we can scout out those throws, it's going to give us a huge advantage. Get the setup win here because you have to block a meaty fireball. Get a neutral A, bait the super. It's the dream. Being down super in this match is very relevant to neutral. Shuts off a lot of options that the other player will still have who has super. Get a big air to air. Yeah, see, that's just the forward A to fireball is just a bad sequence. You're going to get sorted every time. Oh, whiff the jump B. This might whiff. Okay, I get one. Barely. Yep, safe cross up. Just YOLO jumps all day. Okay, don't cancel there because I know it's not going to work. Yeah, now he gets... Yeah, oh, baits me out. Gets 2. I got lazy. I didn't react. You got to react. Yep, see, there's the reaction again. So, yeah, you don't guess sword. You just react to fireballs. I'm doing it wrong in this round, and Arrow's doing it right. So follow Arrow, not me. Big anti-air there. It's one of the only ranges where the knife hand is consistent. And that's the old Grave for you right there. Bada bing, bada boom. I mean, he only needed 1 damage, so that was going to work anyway. But gets the 2, which you sure as hell would not get 2 these days. Now I'm going to get 2. And there we go. That was weird. Oh, his life's gone. What? You know what? We're just going to rock with it. I don't know what happened. So I owned him so badly that the video froze. I think that's actually like a flaw in the video, maybe. I don't know. We're just going to roll with it. So I don't really know what's going on. We'll just go with it. Okay, I'm getting mixed up. Yeah, this sucks. Graves pressure is dumb. Can't really do anything because both players have super. Yep. Going for these forward A's is really not great. I would not recommend this. And now, so you can't do early anti-air super. You have to do late anti-air super. The reason you can't do early anti-air super, well, you're about to find out if you don't already know. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with this sparkling purple bar over here. Yep. So that's not, it looks really flashy or whatever. I'm sure people thought, oh my god, what a great play. I mean, that's just free. You don't do anything, right? You have literally 3 seconds to react or whatever. The whole super freeze thing makes that a very easy play to do. In fact, you could do it right now to any Grave in the world. If they try to super you while you have super and you're just chilling in the air, you will air parry them every time. You mash the button. Whiff punish. Whoa. Okay, so I early jump A and it whiffs. And Arrow is so stunned by my garbage move that he watches as I land. And he's so scared of my sick offense skills that I get a throw off that. That was just sad, honestly. Okay, just fishing here. Oh, yeah, see, jump B, just too good. Fireball's just really not great against Grave. These days, maybe a little better because the jump B is less devastating, but still, just YOLO super for me. Okay, that was a really good block by Arrow there. That spacing is really tough, I think, to see which side it's going to be on. But perfect block. I still managed to get offensive momentum because once you're on the back foot, your only way out is to YOLO super. And surely it's worth it, I think. At some point, you just got to pull the trigger on that sucker because otherwise, Grave pressures Grave really well all day long. Yep, just gets me with the. I saw it that time. I had no way to punish. Oh my god, it's the Jump B Fiesta. So I take the chip there. I was 100,000,000% sure that my chip was gonna fade out because I set up wind, block a fireball, then throw two fireballs, and still I throw a third fireball. And granted, the third fireball wasn't very good because he's just gonna throw a fireball every time, so I shouldn't have done that. But even with that, I was so sure that chip was gonna fade, so I just block. I don't try to dodge it or anything, and I get chipped, and I'm really pissed because now I'm in danger of dying. But thankfully, he falls for the same thing that he just did to me, which is extremely bad because now he's got no super. Yeah, and he just made a guess. I don't even hate the play. I mean, sword is probably too slow, so maybe I do hate the play, but that's such a bad situation. You're pretty much either praying to snipe a Yomi counter at some point, or I don't even know what else. I don't even know how you get out of that ever, other than sniping a Yomi counter. I'm just blocking literally all day. All right, now we've got the Val versus Geiger. So I walk backwards. If I just walk forward mindlessly, I can get forward aid. My forward aid is really good too. Geiger's is even better though. So we have to be really mindful of that. It's one of his best tools against Val for sure. Not unbeatable by any means, but very hard to punish on the ground or very hard to beat on the ground. It really makes us want to jump, and then we can get a fat punish on it. But obviously, jumping now introduces a bunch of risk. So there's no clean way around Geiger's general game plan of mix in gears and forward A's, and maybe like a neutral jump A here and there. And I just get hit by that gear for absolutely no reason. Make him land into the Cyan. So if he lands, that means he could have flash geared. However, Cyan's fast enough where it's pretty hard to react to that. So I think if you're Geiger here, I think you're cool just not getting anti-aired and then just blocking the two Rekkas, hoping to avoid that chip. And so Val's jump's very floaty. What you just saw is a very common thing that newer Geigers deal with, which is not timing their anti-air flash gear correctly. Flash gear, turns out, is very hard to cleanly anti-air a lot of things with because its invulnerability ends very quickly. You have to delay as long as possible, especially against someone with as floaty of a jump as Val's, and with jumping normal that has as big of a hitbox as Val's. It's going to trade unless you're really careful, and you really don't want that. Okay, so there I go for it because last time he was cool just blocking, and all of the last game I played against them, I never went for the cross up yellow, and I'm not liking how this round's going, so I need to make something happen. So I think it's really important as you mature as a player to identify when you can take a little bit of ground here and there from your opponent based on the tendencies you've exhibited. Obviously, we always focus on what our opponents are doing and what they've done and how they've responded to situations, and maybe sometimes don't pay enough attention to our own patterns. This whole set, I haven't gone for cross up yellow once, and this is not a pivotal moment where he's necessarily thinking I'm going to do anything crazy or drastic or high risk or anything. So I'm able to just sneak it in there, and it's a really big momentum shift. Gets a great forward A anti-air. That will work against an empty jump. It will get really owned if I'm doing flailing jump A's, though. So you got to be careful. Rainbow there. So he saw the rainbow. He knew it was coming. He just messed up his punish. Forward A is not the punish. You got to, maybe from that spacing, you just neutral jump. And as the rainbow is ending, you drop gear it. I'm thinking that's maybe what you do. There's a chance that you could flash gear from that range. It might have been barely too far to flash gear. You could probably super from that range. It's hard to say. And I get a free anti-air here. and I sneak in the forward A. So he whiffed that flash screen, was going to go for walk up throw. It's really hard for Geiger to play offense in that particular situation. He's cornered. I have a life lead, and he's at 1 life. So any stray hit is going to kill him. I'm not trying to do anything fancy. I'm trying to land that stray hit. Forward A is my best tool. There's almost no way I take 2 damage there. He has to do the most YOLO, not just like drop gear, but like instant drop gear. And it's very hard to do that because if I just did, forward Cyan, he's just going to die. I don't think that punished. Maybe it did. Who knows? But it hits, and then, as always, when you hit someone with a jump in, their brain just says, we're blocking now, even if really that makes no sense. So I get the free throw, which is really key. Safe jump, same side, as usual. Get the the magenta. So that was the last second possible. I figured he was going to do jump back, drop gear, because that's what you do as Geiger in the situation all the time. I managed to barely milk out that cancel window to like the last possible second, and I get the magenta anti-air. I'm feeling like a god about that because it's very impractical in most situations, but it is very consistent if you can set up the situation because magenta has incredible anti-air capabilities. It's just that it's locked behind a whole other move, so you don't get to use it much. Get a neutral A on, I'm assuming I stuffed a forward A startup, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Again, I'm in a life lead. Once you have a life lead on Geiger and he has to play offense, it sucks for him. It really sucks. He's really great at forcing you to come in, but when he has to come in, it's a whole other thing. Yeah, and I just staggered pressure. I could tell he was getting a little scared to hit buttons. There's the trade again. I mean, it's okay for Geiger, but it's not what you want. Especially not after baiting out a jump with while doing nothing. So here you should jump up and down. You can make that big gear end. I didn't really know about that, or I didn't care, or who knows. Oh, weird. So if you get a flip out, then it's not bad to do the YOLO full screen yellow like I did there. It's really bad to backdash a lot of times because the magenta whiffed. So they might be very close to you. And if you backdash, you're even more minus. But at least if you do the yellow, there's a hitbox on the screen. Potentially, at least, unless they already were able to punish before the yellow came out. And, it's some weird spaghetti, it might just hit him. And it did there. That's kind of like... It's safer than it looks, is the way I'd put it. It's safer than it looks. It's not a good play. You're better hit confirming. But if you're not going to hit confirm, then you might as well just mash the whole thing like a madman. So, jump C, look, I used it. I'm embarrassed that I pressed that button. I should just end this video now. Well, actually, I'm like 1 round from ending this video anyway, right? But I should end it right now because that's unacceptable. And really, what you just saw should invalidate everything I've talked about ever in my Fantasy Strike career. I wish that throw did 2 damage, or infinity damage. I think if you get hit out of the recovery frames of Jump C, you should lose the match. Not the round or the game, but the match. And yeah, so when you're down by multiple life, go for the win, baby. That's what I say. So I'm thinking, jump in combo, 3 damage, we're done here. I don't care if I lose this round. I'm trying to win the round. That is completely legit, and it is your best use of super in the matchup. The only reason I haven't gone for it that much is because Aero has not been giving me the looks that much with the close range projectile. But there I finally find one, and it's such a big momentum shift at the start of the round. Look how far in the corner he is. He's like 1 character away from being in the corner at the start of the round because he threw 1 fireball. Val is rigged as hell. And then here we got the weirdo. I hit him with the cyan into the throw. Again, so like that right there, right? I didn't hit confirm. But I was able to react at least somewhat quickly, even though it wasn't quick enough to get the combo, to understand that, oh, I hit, and now he's blocking. So now I can throw him. Again, technically that's not free, but I mean, show me a player in the entire world who Yomi counters that, and I will show you a god. I actually go for the zip there. Again, want to give him weird looks. It's not a good move, but I want to give him weird looks. Then I do this weird staggered neutral A into Rekka series thing. Again, I'm being a weirdo right now. I'm feeling good. I'm trying to just make him flustered. He's about to lose, and yeah, that cross up yellow there is safe. Can't match that one. And I don't hit confirm. What the hell was that? How do I not see that? I just Rekka and win. Unbelievably bad. It's like incredibly bad. You gotta finish off people when they whiff flash gear. You have to kill them. That's so bad. My God, I'm disgusted again. And we win anyway. Maybe undeservedly, but you know, somebody's got to win. I think actually that's gonna be my last thought in this video, which is a very empowering thing I tell people who I'm trying to help with competitions, not necessarily even Fantasy Strike or competitive games in general, but any competitive activity, which is somebody's got to win. Why not you? Hope that helps you. And thanks for watching. Take care.